day in, day out. NPP government has introduced more taxes. They have introduced new taxes, and they continue to introduce new and better taxes to the ordinary Ghanaian, especially the youth. The youth are jobless. After school, there are no jobs. Even the national service, the stipends do not come in regularly. The youth have decided to find ways and means to survive. Bella, this is about survival of the youth. This is about survival of a good number of people who do not have jobs. And you come and tell me that you want to tax it because they win, and for that matter, they are making money. Trust me, if you had provided jobs for the youth of this country, they will not be betting every day. If you had provided good, secure jobs for the youth of this country, they will not be on their phones every day gambling. They will not be betting based on the small.
He says they've created an enabling environment.
What enabling environment have they created?
Some 1,000 youth have been employed.
Please, please.
In fact, more than 1,000.
Please.
We don't have the facts to back it up.
Let's be serious in this country. Let's be serious in this country. They have not provided any jobs. When you start asking them about jobs, when you start asking them about their factories, one time they tell you, oh, we have been able to produce 2,000 jobs. Tomorrow is 1,500 jobs. The next day, you have been able to make sure 150 factories. The next day, 125 factories, 200 factories. They keep throwing up the figures. When you ask them, like the way you asked him, how many jobs, he was fumbling. Where are the factories? He doesn't have them.
Oh, but he mentioned a few.
You start speculating about.
He mentioned about 3 factories.
You start saying about this, about that, about this, about that. We will not take. No, we will not take this. Please.
Please wrap up on this for me so we can go into our second conversation.
We will not take this.
Please,
they keep making noise about factories, but you see, under the NDC, just one factory under the NDC, Ghana Gas, makes nonsense of the over 150 so-called factories you are saying you established under Akufo-Addo, whether direct and indirect jobs, in terms of even saving this country forest. It makes nonsense of over your 150 jobs. So take that from here. And don't you ever try to make this argument about the fact that you have created factories. So for that matter, you've created a conducive environment for the youth. And for that matter, jobs have been created. The next thing...
Please land for me. We don't have time.
The next thing I would want to talk about is about the fact that we associate ourselves with the teeming and suffering youth of this country. Whether Muslim or Christian, we speak for every youth who is going through hardship. We speak for every youth who is going through the wickedness of this government. Why? This is a government that has ballooned our debt stock. This is a government that has received so much revenue. There's a saying in my language that if you chew the entire cow and you are not satisfied, the head and the feet cannot make you satisfied. After all these monies, over 500 billion in public debt, there's nothing to write home about. It is not the 10% that you are going to tax the youth that are better that is going to change anything. This government is desperate. And for that matter, anything that looks like money, anything that smells like money, anything that even resembles money, they must tax it. And that is our problem.
You didn't answer his question, by the way. He asked you that as a Muslim, do you support betting?
I would support anything any youth is doing to survive.
Anything at all?
It is legal. So far as it is legal, I support anything any youth is doing to survive under such
including betting.
Yes, betting is legal. I support anything.
Well, yesterday there was a Muslim man.
Youth, I support because I do not speak for only Muslims. I speak for Christians. I speak for traditionalists.
But you're Muslim. I was just asking that because yesterday a Muslim man called us and said that the religion frowns on it.
I speak on everyone who is a youth of this country because you would say that because today it doesn't concern me, I won't speak for it. But tomorrow it will concern you, and there'll be no one to speak for you. You keep talking about the fact that you're Muslim, so you cannot speak for it. You cannot speak. Their own vice president, Alhaji Dr. Bawumia, we are still waiting for him to come out and make a definite position about LGBTQ. Nothing has been said about it. So please don't come here and want to play a moral card. We are talking about people's survival. We are talking about the youth that do not have jobs. We are talking about the youth that you promised. You don't even have the moral right to come and sit and talk about morals. Because if you had that moral right, you would have provided jobs to the youth. Because you went into that social contract with the youth. You have not been able to fill those
promises.
And you come and sit and you want to talk about morality.
Thank you, Osman. Let's move into our next conversation. We don't have time. So on the 26th of July, 2023, there was a coup in Niger. And the President Mohamed Bazoum was toppled by his military leader, the General Commander, Abdurrahman Chiani. Now, weeks down the line, of course, ECOWAS has tried to intervene. They've issued, some laws asking them to restore the country to constitutional rule. That has fallen on deaf ears. And now ECOWAS is threatening to go in there with a military base to restore the country back to constitutional rule. In fact, as it stands now this morning, we're told that some military chiefs of the Economic Community of West African States will again meet in Ghana this morning to consider the possibility of intervening in the Niger Republic. So the meeting is billed for today and tomorrow. It was initially scheduled for Saturday, but had to be postponed. And this is coming after the ECOWAS leaders approved the deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger last week. Now, what do you think of this as a Ghanaian? Do we have the funds for it? Do we think that this is a step in the right direction to even go ahead and also offer some of our military men to support ECOWAS in this fight? There are some senior intelligence officers who don't think that this is the right thing to do. Let's listen to Colonel Festus Abuaji and also Professor Enin on what they have to say on this.
For a civil war case, let's say something similar to Liberia, Sierra Leone, at a point in time, La Côte d'Ivoire. So we are using the standby force for an operation for which it has not been established. But I don't think this is something that can be marshaled within the next 6 to 9 months. And what it means is that it's going to basically open a Pandora's box. And it's not just about what will happen in Niger. It is about, as I said, the narrative about new identities and standing up to colonial powers whose critical interest has been to take resources back to the metropole. But not only that, the Niger case also raises fundamental concerns about issues of security force assistance. What kind of security force assistance do you provide to a country like Niger, in which those who provided the assistance, the US, Czech, Turkey, and France, did not understand the underpinning tensions and stresses within both the military and amongst the political hierarchy?
My attention was drawn to Article 40 of the Ghana Constitution, which covers international relations. Not surprisingly, the first provision under this article is that in our dealings with other nations, our government, the government that we elect, shall promote and protect the interest of Ghana. So what is the interest of Ghana in the intervention in Niger? During the decision, it should be clear that when the government comes out to say that Ghana is going to be part of the ECOWAS intervention, that the government articulates how that is going to serve the national interest. Before you end that provision, it also says that we shall first pursue pacific settlement of disputes, that settlement of international disputes by peaceful means. So the question is, what peaceful means have Ghana been part of? So far, Ghana has not told us what the risks are. You see what I mean? It's just saying that we belong to a multilateral organization called ECOWAS, signed the ECOWAS Treaty and so on and so forth. Does that mean that when ECOWAS is going into a ditch, we go along with ECOWAS into the ditch? Then the government has not told us where it's going to find the means to support this endeavor. Some have suggested it's going to come from France. Look, we're going to compromise our sovereignty, but there's no free lunch anywhere in the world. And I want Ghanaians to go and read Dr. Obed Asamoah's book, that thick book, and read how he articulates how both Nigeria and Libya were twisting the arms of Ghana to do the bidding of Nigeria and do the bidding of Gaddafi, just because we're in dire straits and they gave us oil and they paid for our troops in Lekomo. So if Ghana cannot pay for this intervention, Ghana must not be part of it. And I want to suggest that given the economic circumstances that we are in, it can never, or it will be very difficult in the national interest to spend money on this intervention.
Well, if ECOWAS is heading into a ditch, should Ghana also follow ECOWAS into that ditch? Osman, I'll come to you first, because the minority has issued some level of, I won't say warning necessarily, but caution to President Akufo-Addo to not release the military men to support what's going to happen in Niger. Why that?
Not only have the minority in parliament, but even the chairman of the National Democratic Congress said that we should not commit our soldiers in any, and I quote him, any useless military intervention in Niger.
This is useless?
Yes, intervention, sending our troops there is useless.
Why is it useless?
According to the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, one, it is a useless exercise for us to commit our soldiers to go into Niger. At the end of the day, some will die. We don't want them to die. And we don't think that, considering our current economic conditions and our current happiness, we should be more concerned about our own internal issues other than sending soldiers to Niger. You see, just 2 days ago, there was a report from my own hometown, Boko, and it said that for the past 2 years, nearly 200 people have died.
Yeah. And
averagely, about 5 people die every week. And this has been running for the past 2 years. What has the president done about it? I haven't seen any serious commitment to putting a stop to that. I haven't seen any serious commitment from government. The last time the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense tried going into Boko, they couldn't get to Boko. They had to retreat because the place was not secured. So these are even issues within our domain that we've not been able to curtail. These are issues within our own confines as a country we've not been able to take care of. So why would I sit here, coming from Boko, and considering the kind of killings happening in Boko and the insecurity in Boko, come and sit here, even based on that sole reason alone? I would not be the right person to tell you that send soldiers to Niger, when we have not been able to cure most of our own internal issues. So the president should be concerned about solving most of our internal issues, other than...
But we belong to the sub-region anyway.
Yes, we belong.
And so, yes, we may have issues, but it doesn't mean that if your neighbor's house is on fire, you should look the other way.
But your own house is on fire. Have you been able to quench the fire? It's when you're done quenching the fire in your house, then you think of your neighbor. You know, when there's disaster, even mothers with children, they save themselves first before they start shouting, "Where's my child? Where's my child?" So you need to quench the fire in your house first before you think of external issues. So quite apart from the insecurity even back home that we need to solve, considering, is it necessary for Ghanaians to send troops? Considering our current economic base we find ourselves in, considering the unfortunate issues and unfortunate incidents that we find ourselves in, considering the wickedness of this party and this government that we find ourselves in, considering the recklessness of this government and where we find ourselves in, do you think that at this material moment, what should concern us most is sending troops to Niger? I think the president needs to think, and I quote my national chairman, they shouldn't send Ghanaians into such a useless, and the word is useless because it is useless.
What if they'd go and they're able to restore the constitution back to, the country back to constitutional rule? Would you still think that this is useless?
It is still useless because we do not even want them to go. It's not about the outcome. It's about you even going there and where we find ourselves. And we tell you that even though we are part of ECOWAS, you are not under a compulsion to go there. It's a choice that you would want to go there.
Are there other ways by which...
that is why the People's Representatives Parliament is saying that if you want to go, even come to Parliament and also hear from us, because we are a proper representation of the over 30 million Ghanaians, and we will tell you whether you should go or not. But of course,
but this aspect is not grounded in law, is it?
Even if it is not grounded in law, this is a decision that is going to affect millions of Ghanaians. It is going to affect us financially, and it may actually affect us in terms of our security. So you do not just take a unilateral decision as a president. I'm a president, so for that matter, I will do this. You should be able to consult. You should be able to come to the representation of the people, that is Parliament House, seek their approval. You see, it is not for anything that even before you contract certain loans, business contracts, you need to come to Parliament, because what happens is that the whole country is obligated, or you contract with the whole country. So to the extent that you want to go into Niger, you need to go to Parliament House, at least seek their approval, inform them that this is what you need to do. What do you think? Do you approve of it before you even take that step? But I quote again, we will not support, we will not engage, and we are telling the president not to engage in this useless enterprise of going to Niger.
Enoch, the minority describes this as useless, but the major concern is with the economic downturn that we're facing at the moment, and the fact that we may not also have the military men on the ground that we can send there? Because we know that we have quite a number of them who are on the UN mission already. Equal number waiting to replace them when they come back. So do we really have the men to go and battle this? And if you look at the numbers with regards to how many military men are on the ground in Niger, per security intelligence, we're told that it's around 30,000. And you need 3 times of that to be able to go and battle it and get them out of the place. So if that's the case, are we sure that we have the men to be able to do this job, and do we have the money to support it? And I mean 3,000, sorry, not 30,000.
Okay, thank you, Bella. It should be stated that ECOWAS as a region has 16 member countries. And as far as the international system is concerned, from the realist construct, it is dominated by the states, or the states are the predominant actors within the international system. And it should also be stated that as far as the international system is concerned, it is largely anarchical. It is anarchical, not even largely, it is anarchical. And states are on their own in terms of in pursuit of their national interest and the likes. In as much as this exists within the international system, that is why regionalism and integration, the liberalists said that there can be additional several actors who can also contribute their quota as far as the peace of the international system is concerned. Largely the promulgation of regional blocs, the promulgation of the institutions like the United Nations and the African Union, and all material institutions that we can see today prevailing to assist in ensuring peace within the international system for your sustenance and for our progress is concerned. As far as our constitution is concerned, I have not read anywhere, except someone to point to me, that there is a provision that mandates that in committing troops, as far as our obligation within the international system is concerned, interventions and peacekeeping, not waging war is concerned, there is the need for the approval of Parliament before the state can contribute resources, including troops, whether money or in terms of policy, direction or guidance, assistance, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, or whatsoever. There is none. And as far as our constitution is concerned, Bella, under Article 1, 2 of our constitution, it is not Parliament which is supreme. It is not the executive that is just behind your block, the Jubilee House, which is supreme, but it is our constitution that is supreme. All other institutions or organs of states derive their powers from the constitution, the supreme law of this country. And with it, under Article 75 of the constitution, the president has the power to sign on to treaties and conventions. But you see, Ghana as a dualist country, international laws exist separately as far as our domestic laws are concerned. Until we take steps, fundamental steps, to institutionalize or domesticate those laws within our local laws. ECOWAS, the Treaty of ECOWAS, as promulgated, was ratified by Ghana as far as 1975. And as far as the ECOWAS protocols and treaties are concerned, it is part of the laws of Ghana. And we have an obligation as a member country, as far as the collective security arrangement within the ECOWAS sub-region is concerned, to also offer support. Now, what is the issue at stake? Let us remind our viewers that in 2010, when the Ivorian crisis broke up, when the former president Laurent Gbagbo lost the elections and was forcing his way into power, the authority of heads of state and government, then President Mills, may he so rest in perfect peace, was the president of this country, sat and also passed a resolution to use all forms of mediation and diplomatic channels to resolve the impasse. And when it fails, they were going to use force, brute force. And as far as the use of force is concerned, the United Nations Charter approves of collective use of force. The AU Charter, the ECOWAS Charter approves of the collective use of force in consonance with the promotion of peace within the international system is concerned. It is not illegal that you say, because we have challenges, several challenges, that you say, because we have certain problems, and those problems are not material only to the people of Ghana, although we have our own national interest, we shouldn't contribute our resources towards the support.
But do we have the resources? That's the concern. Because even if you look at the budgetary allocation, hold on, please. Osman, I'll let you come in. The 2020, I'll let you come in, please.
Please, let me finish.
I'll give you that chance so you can. Because if you look at even the budgetary allocations for 2023, when it comes to even the military or the security agencies, the contingency budget, when you look at the monies there, it is for some specific areas, and there's no allocation for you know, anything of this sort. So the question is, we don't even have money at the moment. We've gone to the IMF for a loan that we're trying to use to sustain our economy. It will cost us if we send our military men to go into this battle, okay? But it's not only about that. The national interest as well comes to play. Do we even have the men to send there? These are all very genuine questions that people are asking. And if we don't have that, then why are we still going ahead? Can we not offer our services in other ways other than investing money and also our men?
Bella, I like your statement, the very bit of your statement, the last sort of your statement, the other ways. Have you heard from the president the ways in which the president is contributing towards our obligation, towards the ECOWAS that we belong as a member state? We are only preempting the outcome of it, that once ECOWAS has declared that we are going to use brute force to restore constitutional order within Niger, certainly it's going to be militarization. Granted, it is militarization. It is in the national interest so to do. The reason being that the Sahel region in Africa, where Niger falls, Mali, and upper part of West Africa, we all know that it has been taken over, largely dominated by jihadists. Talk of Burkina Faso. You remember when the president visited or was on a state visit to the USA, and as part of our bilateral discussions with the US government as a state, the president mentioned that our neighboring country has secured a portion of land on the upper border of Ghana between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, and they have placed these Wagner forces, Wagner mercenaries from Russia on these lands, and it is a threat to our national security. Look at the condemnation that the president and the bashing that the president received, even from people within, i.e. Honorable Saboku Jetu Ablakwa, who has a penchant of pitching state against state, pitching Ghana against other sovereign nations like the Russia Federation.
How is he doing that? He's not here to defend himself, so if we can leave him out of it, please.
Oh, by the topic you mentioned, you sent me, his name was on the topic.
I know, but let's not bring that aspect to it.
No, certainly he can respond in equal measure. He's fond of pitching state against state. When these Wagner issues came, it was Okujeto Ablakwa who raised the issue about the Wagner forces and the light that the president is not showing good neighborliness and all those material issues. All these issues have been resolved. I think last week or two, there was something in the news that the jihadists have traveled down south as far as Tamale and the likes. Where are they occupying? It's a Sahelian region. So it's a threat to our national security. So as far as democratic practices and the security of the ECOWAS region is concerned, Ghana, as a sovereign state, has a duty to protect its sovereign borders. So
that would be our national interest.
It's our national interest.
Which is why we're involving
national interest, because you know, democracy, military regimes, and all these material facts. Look at these juntas and their sort of alienation. Where are they aligning towards?
But that's the thing.
And look at the alliance being built.
Are we equipped to face these Nigerian military? Because they've been fighting jihadists and insurgency since 2012. So they have the experience. Bella. Do we, as a nation and as ECOWAS, do we have that kind of experience? Because we need to get to that level to be able to restore the country back to its original constitutional rule. And that is a concern that security, intelligence is saying that if you don't have those things, there's no need involving yourself.
Bella, one thing that we should all accept is that ECOWAS as a body is a supranational body. ECOWAS as a body is a supranational body. Look at Nigeria. What is the population of Nigeria compared to Ghana? How many battalions do the Nigerian army have? How many battalions do we have as a country? I think in Ghana, our highest rank in the military is Lieutenant Colonel. That is the CDA, the Chief of Defense Staff. Nigeria, they have General, number one. That is the top notch of the military hierarchy. It means that they have a larger army. And in terms of contribution towards the ECOWAS standing forth, the contribution of Nigeria, as far as the military men on the ground will be concerned, will be higher or will be more than that of Ghana. Okay. In terms of the population and the numbers, in terms of the size of our battalions. And it should be noted that when President Mills in 2010 was asked about Ivorian issues, then Okujeto Ablakwa was Information Minister, Deputy Information Minister. He mentioned that it is a decision of ECOWAS. So the popular anxium,
okay.
Once ECOWAS has made a determination, once ECOWAS has made a resolution, it is binding on all member states, and in as much as we will contribute or not, it does not lie in our mouth that we should look on. Granted, he did not contribute. ECOWAS even did not send this military force or the applied force in La Côte d'Ivoire to remove Laurent Gbagbo. Did we? ECOWAS did not, because we did not also contribute anything.
Okay.
But the president acknowledged that it was a resolution by ECOWAS, and as such, ECOWAS is a supranational body, and being a member state of ECOWAS, and we have signed on to the treaties of ECOWAS, we are obliged with the resolution of ECOWAS.
Okay. All right. Let me bring Osman in to respond to this, because then the other concern is...
Bella, I find it very difficult to understand the warped logic and how serpentilinear his analogy and analysis is. You understand? You start by saying that the fact that we belong to ECOWAS, meaning that we are obligated to send troops out there. Then he continues by saying that in 2010, when we had the issues in Ivory Coast, there was a decision that was taken in Ghana that we should send troops out there, thereby concluding that we are taking troops out there. Don't forget that popular phrase by, God bless his soul, Professor John Evans Atta-Mills, Diufiasem. He wasn't saying Diufiasem in terms of ECOWAS. He was saying Diufiasem in terms of Ghana. He wasn't going to commit troops to Ivory Coast. So if you come and sit here and you create the impression as though when ECOWAS decided in 2010 that we should send troops to Ivory Coast, then Ghana was included, and for that matter, we should deal our FIASM as ECOWAS. Please, that's what I'm saying. This analogy, I don't know where it's coming from. And please, do some reading on public international law. The fact that you have signed on to a treaty or you have signed on to a convention which has been ratified and approved by Parliament doesn't mean that when that organization is sending troops to other nations to go and stabilize or destabilize the system, you are obligated or it is mandatory for you to go. It is not.
Okay.
In every treaty, there are avenues to which you can disagree to certain decisions and actions that are supposed to be taken. So don't come and sit here and make this kind of warped logic. And please, it's early morning.
So there's no need for us to...
Okay. There is no need.
I don't think that kind of thing is a warped logic.
Gentlemen, we have to go. We have another interview.
You don't have any mastery international...
Okay.
So you don't say
we have to go at this point. We have to go. But Enoch, there's a viewer who's saying that in this case, maybe we should send you to Niger to fight on behalf of Ghana. Since you agree with the fact that maybe we should send...
in whatever form.
Okay. We have to go. But I just wanted to read that one quickly for you. I wish I could have read all the messages, but thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. This morning I've been speaking to Osman Ayarga, and of course, Osman Ayarga is the Deputy National Youth Organizer for the NDC. Enoch Anshere Afuakwa is a member of the NPP communications team. We have a big conversation coming up, and I'm sure that this particular topic will take center stage when our guest joins us in the studio. He's already here, actually, and this is going to be a very interesting one. Honorable Kennedy Ohene Ejapon. He's an NPP flag bearer hopeful, and he will be joining us, an exclusive conversation with Roland. So look forward to that right here on TV3 New Day, right after this. Don't go anywhere.